it's cool. I mean, it's such an important part of my life. A project I love, and to have a kind of a photo album of a kind to remember all the wonderful people and artists I worked with, and a way to remember the films and behind the films. So it's been really cool. No, it's all seared into my memory. But it's nice to see everyone, I mean, it's nice to see, all the people that I had a chance to work with. And so it's like I said, it's a nice photo album. It's like, oh yeah, hi, Ricardo, Asia, Angelica. I mean, I can only speak for myself. I mean, I think that the films are fun. They're super well crafted. Wonderful performances, the action, the drama, the spirit of John Wick. I think I like the guy. He's got some dark sides to him, but he's a good man. I don't know, the only dog that comes to mind is Lassie. I mean, it's the goat of dogs. I mean, it's not really pain. They're beautifully challenging, creatively. It's wonderful to have the opportunity to try and continue to tell stories and develop characters and create the world. So that's a wonderful challenge, wonderful creative challenge. And I think, having Chad and Dave on the first film, and then working with Chad, a visionary with the series, it's the best creative partner you can have. I don't know. So ranking them in terms of the physicality, I think they're all number one. Can you do that? Can they all be one? But it was cool just, to continue the continuity of who I had the chance to train with. So it was cool each film getting more training and to be able to do more things. So the learning of the role and the experience was so special. It's been fun, right?
It's been great. It's been a very interesting, and it's pretty awesome, actually.
Very special. Very rare.
Yeah, first time for me.
Yeah, me too. But
no, it's been great. It's been an incredible journey. I mean, I was laughing in there, so we actually did it.
Creatively simpatico.
Yeah, simpatico with that, and endurance simpatico.
Yeah.
A love of the climb.
That generations enjoy these pictures. They were made with a lot of love, and they're a wonderful cinematic feast, right? We kind of cooked it up.
Yeah, it's just always flattering when people still want more, which is great. So we've been very lucky to have a few ancillary projects, TV show, the anime, Ballerina. So I don't even know what to say. That's pretty flattering when people keep asking for more and asking for more. Just that you're asking what's next, and we're like, don't know, but
yeah,
be fun to find out.
I think it's between 3 and 4.
Between the events of 3 and 4. I think it's the timeline that I think people understand pretty well.
No, they won't.
No, they're cool. You're not dead.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool to see more of the world, meet new characters.
Gabriel Byrne.
Yeah, I mean, I never had a chance to work with that amazing artist, but it was cool to work with Anna and go through the training. And yeah, after that shoot, I took the shoes off.
Yeah.
I put the belt off, laid the guns on the ground. Like how boxers take their gloves off in the ring when they retire.
Did you retire the gun belt?
I did. I retired the gun belt.
We've had the same belt and the gun belt for 3 months.
I mean, I was kind of like where life and art matched, right? John is always trying to
put
him in the basement, put him under the cement, pulls him back out.
You can't keep a good character
goes
buried.
to a secret fucking place to get his stuff again. And so, but mine are
down for now.
Down for now.
It's a little strange, but anytime you do something where people want a little bit more of, it's very flattering, it's very humbling, but you're also very thankful for it. So I guess that's okay. If you're talking about the individual who plays John Wick, it's incredibly high. But again, hopefully you see it and you realize that the pain is not a bad thing. It's, you know, it's the pain of creation, it's the pain of doing something you love, and it's all a good thing. Hopefully good. Hopefully it's interesting. Again, we're all just very flattered by the fact that so many people, especially our fans, want to see more of the world. And again, it's a real pleasure to keep trying to create and keep trying to push the limits of what we've already done. Look, I think anybody that really wants to participate in our little universe, or our little slice of heaven, they don't really see it as pain. It's just the cost of doing something you love. We just try to do what we as audience members would like to see. No one loves action, anime, Asian cinema, Italian cinema, world cinema as much as Keanu, myself, and the teams we work with. So we're just trying to put things out there that we love in a way that we think would get to all the people like us that love the action genre. The fight to get it made would be probably the most prominent in my mind. Yeah. It was pretty easy to believe back then. It's a little harder to believe how far we've come. Well, I would like to keep creating, keep adding it in, because it's our franchise, because we kind of set the parameters. You know, it sounds crazy, but you can have dogs, ninjas, cars, music, gunfights, high table, mythology. You know, we can keep expanding in so many different ways, and there's so many great people in our industry, great performers and cast members we'd love to work with, big crew we'd love to work with. There's so many great places on the planet that we'd love to film in. So as long as we can keep actualizing what we love, I think we could keep expanding as long as we're still drawing a breath. Look, I know I had the first day somewhere back in 2014, and I know now we're in 2025. It kind of feels like one really long day. So they kind of all blend together for me. Look, it's like anything with relationships with friends or projects or work that you do, you keep growing with it. So like, they're all my favorite at the time. It'd be really hard to separate them. We've learned so much for each one, and I don't think it would be possible to have skipped a step in the process, otherwise we wouldn't be here. So.
First interview there.
Yeah, Wick is Pain actually comes from kind of it's a statement that Chad and Keanu have with each other. It's kind of an inside joke. It kind of basically means no pain, no gain. They love, to them, if they're not suffering, if they're not like, you know, having to like fight through the rain and the cold and everything, that it's just like it's not worth it. It's got to hurt on some level to them in order to be good. Like if it's not good enough, you know, if it's too easy, it's not good enough. It's kind of the mentality. So that's where it comes from. 10 years ago, you know, John Wick was this little indie film, and no one knew what it was going to do, and there was no budget for a behind-the-scenes crew or anything. And Josh had been friends with Chad Stahelski and Keanu Reeves and David Leitch for a number of years, and going all the way back to The Matrix. And Josh was like, you know, this is your guy's first movie. We should document this. So he had that brilliant foresight to document this film, and we captured some amazing moments. And then it just, you know, continued on and on and on through the other 3 films, which just became bigger and bigger and bigger. And we had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of behind-the-scenes footage that we had to go through and distill down to a story that really captures the struggle and the perseverance of not only Chad and Keanu, but the whole Wick crew in making these films, going from a small indie film that could almost didn't happen, to suddenly you're making big studio pictures, and like, how do you top yourself and all that pressure? And so it really took a keen eye in terms of editing to look through the footage and figure out, you know, like, how are we going to give this context and be able to look at it and say, I see stuff in there that the average person might not see because I understand the larger picture. and then going out and getting all brand new interviews with all the principal players, and they were all just so wonderful, and to really help shape this story. How this film almost didn't happen on a number of levels, from financing falling out to just like not enough money overall to make this thing, to, you know, when they finished the film and they took it out for distribution, no one wanted to buy it, which is shocking. Nobody in Hollywood, everyone was like, pass. And they thought, our careers are over. You know, it's like, I'm going to go back to, you know, being a stunt guy. And so that's a really amazing story. But also just how this friendship and this bond between Chad and Keanu, they're like brothers. And how they each time try to come up with new, amazing ideas on how to top each other. And that whole creative process, fans get to see a peek into that world of like how they figure all this stuff out. And then, you know, not only the story, but also all the action and working with all the stunt guys. And just, you know, it's not, as Chad says, it's not like they're doing the sequels and they just hire a screenwriter and say, okay, come up with something, we'll see you in 6 months. They're like, they are involved from like day one and working, trying to figure every angle out, but it's always with the idea of, well, why are we doing this? And mainly it's why for the audience. Why are we coming back to this story? How can we make it better? How can we plus it up? And if they don't have that why, they don't want to do it. But thank God, every time they've come up with a new idea. The key is Keanu Reeves. The casting of Keanu Reeves is key. If you cast any other actor, yeah, it'd be okay, but it wouldn't work. And the reason being is there's something about Keanu that he's inherently sympathetic. And audience, you know, it's just his charisma, it's just the energy he gives off that people empathize, you know, with it, and they understand him. And so, like, when they kill his dog, people are like, yeah, kill them all. You know, like they get it. But, you know, if it had been another actor that was just like, I don't even know if this guy likes dogs, you know, I don't think it would have worked. Well, it has to be John Wick. I mean, I always post the question, I would love to debate this with Chad. It's like, you know, so you ever had like a multiverse cross franchise? It's like, well, who would win in a fight, John Wick or like James Bond or Jason Bourne, or Ethan Hunt? Like, who would win? I still say it would be John Wick.
Well, it's sort of a rallying call that Keanu Reeves and Chad Stahelski had for one another. It's sort of a thing they would say to one another as they got to work every day. Keanu often in agonizingly painful soreness, having it been thrown around or thrown people around the night before. So pain was just a part of the process, and I think the film is about that process. It was really cool and a great opportunity that Lionsgate gave us because, we've had someone, as you said, there since the beginning, and we've always been able to promote the movie, but we've never been able to tell the story of the human beings behind it. So being able to go back, look at the footage again, talk to people again, and tell that story with a different perspective has been really a privilege. I think, well, the first thing is that no one liked it at first. No one wanted to make it, and even after it had been made, they screened it, and no one wanted to put it out. So it's kind of unimaginable, the idea that this sort of hyper-successful franchise really just took a while to find its audience, but it did, and hopefully it's encouraging to people who have their own ideas that aren't necessarily finding the right eyes. Well, first of all, he loves his dog. He loves his wife, so that's part one, obviously. And then I think there's a notion about just the fact that nothing will stop him. Like, it's something that everyone wants in themselves, which is just that he gets knocked down, he gets back up, and he keeps charging at you. And there's obviously some wish fulfillment in, we would all like to have the rugged good looks and cool fashions of Keanu in this movie. And he's a badass. So all those things combined, I think, make him a kind of resilient character. But I always liked the character of Sharon, played by Lance Reddick, dearly departed Lance Reddick, who I thought he takes care of John Wick's dog when John Wick's on the road. He's just a cool guy. And as it turns out, a bit of a badass who arms up in one of the movies as well. So I'd probably call on him.
And one more time. And looking straight ahead, just one more time.
It's really exciting, really fun. It goes all the way back to watching the stunt guys and the action design team from the Matrix movies working together and developing a friendship over the many years of those projects for my husband Josh and our group at our company, watching them work on a lot of films together, and then John Wick being sort of like the pinnacle of action and all the action design work. It came from Chad and Keanu, and it's their feelings and sentiments and all the hard work that went into all of the movies.
And one more time.
How passionate and how much love and heart and soul and hard work goes into every single movie, and how many months of training. And I just love the film community overall. And to me, John Wick is made from passion from day one. And I think it's a testament to how hard people in entertainment work. Just that personal drive, no quitting, never say die, never give up, and give it your all for your whole family, including your pets. Oh my God. Well, I'm really excited about Ballerina, and I'm excited to see what's next for the whole franchise. And of course, I would always put my money on Keanu.
These weren't easy movies to make. From a writing, from a producing, from a directing, and especially from a Keanu standpoint. The guy put his body through the ringer time and time again, proudly so, with some of the best stunt guys the world has ever known. And each and every one is, if you get to the finish line and you're not all hurt in some way, you're doing it wrong. Well, I mean, everything I write it's a love letter to the movies I loved in the 80s, and it doesn't matter how much action or world build you have, you got to kind of care, you got to care for the character. And with John, I looked at him as, in the past he was the devil, he was the Baba Yaga, but he found love, he found redemption and salvation, and he just wants to be left alone, and when they come, steal his car, kill his dog. Ultimately, he just wants not revenge, but justice. And then, my second favorite scene in the whole movie is when he's in that chair and he says, "People keep asking me if I'm back." And fuck yeah, he's back. We've all talked about it with love up to this point, but it's just the amount of work it took for each entry and the amount of physical labor and duress it was for Keanu to do something that he's both unique and yet familiar in the role, and to do it with such passion. This is a guy who loves this character so much and put his all into it, and even though we think we may know all what that entails, you're about to see what it really entails. I really do believe that his superpowers, if you would, they're not he's the best. He gets up. He has empathy. He has will. My favorite scene in the first movie is when he comes up behind that guy outside the red circle and says, "Francis, do you lose some weight? Why don't you go home?" And I think there is this humanity to this character that, sure, we don't quite know what he was in regards to the Baba Yaga of it all, but now he's just a guy trying to live his life and get the rest of this stuff behind him. No, it's funny. Like, I loved Lance. I miss Lance. But when you see Ian McShane and Keanu Reeves on screen together, I'd like to be killed by those two.
Well, I mean, it's been a long journey. It's like 11 years since the first movie, and Chad and Keanu came up with this idea to kind of go back and look at where it all started, and a lot of it shows the genesis of the idea and the genesis of, Chad's foray into action, which is really cool. I think audiences will love. And the movie is now, we're 4 movies in, there's spin-offs, there's TV shows, so I think it's really fun for audiences to see how we were this tiny little independent movie that fell apart so many times and was so dramatic, and it's a coup that we're here still talking about it. It's so incredible. We're so blessed to have made one movie that people really love, and now it's this franchise and an icon of action and a pillar of like how action movies are made today. And 1 caused the most pain, 2 was the most fun for me to shoot, and then I would say 3 and then 4. And a lot of like your personal baggage comes into that as well. I was pregnant during John Wick 4. I had a newborn in John Wick 3, so a lot of that sort of like gets brought into it. So many of the decisions we made early on were really based on the amount of resources we had, and the movie fell apart so many times, and it was co-directed by Chad and Dave, and we've all grown so much from that, but really you see in those early days like how the first ideas for gun fu and car fu and really some of the really revolutionary stunt pieces and all of it sort of came together really early on. Well, I think we got really lucky with Keanu because all actors bring sort of their actor baggage to the role, and I think that he perfectly embodied the character of John Wick. And look, we had this incredible sort of inciting incident, right? A dead dog given to him by his deceased wife, and it was just such a clean buy-in that men, women, everyone sort of attached to. Yeah, the story of Ballerina is really interesting because we take a look into the Ruska Roma and sort of where characters like John Wick and Eve were trained early on. It expands the universe, and instead of, John Wick is, even from the beginning, always trying to get out, where the character of Eve is trying to get in, so it's just a different perspective and really fun world building. I'm really excited. We've been working on Ballerina for a long time, and I'm super excited for people to see, one, how incredible Anna is as an actress and the really fun world building that we brought to it. There's incredible action, this insane flamethrower set piece, and action in the snow. It's just a really different world. It expands mythology, so I'm excited. Of course, I love John Wick protecting me. I always loved Sophia, the Halle Berry character. I thought that she brought a really cool vibe to our world, so I think her probably.